Welcome to the Queen Juicy Shake Show. I am your motivating, self-esteem host, Queen Juicy Shake. And we have our wonderful co-host, Yam. Give it up for our Yam.
Oh,
And then we have our awesome sauce, JSM in the building. Woo. And our Nina Vina, she did get lost in the sauce on our technology side, but hopefully she will be back. And if not, we love you, Nina. So we're going to open up this platform with some positive affirmations. So, Yams, we would love for you to go first.
I am going. I
One
am
more,
me.
one more time.
me-
Go ahead.
I am vegan. I am going vegan.
All right, JSM, what about you, King?
Um, I am connecting with my higher power and going to be a better person because of it and will be alive, not dead. Run on sentences, but try after this weekend.
He's a child after this weekend. Well, so my positive affirmation is I feel awesome. I feel amazing. I feel awesome. Shut up. Shout out to Kool-Aid.
Um,
if you
uh,
don't if you don't know what we are speaking about, you can have to go wait back to the beginning of our first team and hear our Kool-Aid with I am awesome. I am amazing. So now we got that together. So we got our positive affirmations out the way to just like really, prepare our platform throughout our social media and throughout you guys' lives. We hope that, throughout this broadcast that you'll be able to pick something up and utilize it within your life or someone you know, or just enjoy a vibe with us. Cool beans. So, we are first going to talk about in our media moments on Netflix, and it is with India Matchmaking, and it was aired 2023, and the director is I cannot pronounce her name right, Smriti, and this is season 3, episode 1. So we're going to first start out. Yams, did you watch? What episode did you watch? And tell us a little bit about the episode that you watched.
okay, so watch season.
Wait a minute, hold on. Say that again.
Okay, I watched season 1, um, and so it was really really good. First of all, the matchmaker is really funny because people be saying, "I want this," and she's like, "None of that is important." And people be like, and honestly, like sometimes I do agree with her because the guy, okay, I don't know these people's name, and I'm not saying these people in a racist way. I just mean these wonderful people with names that are not English. Like I don't know their names. I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna describe them. So the guy, I think he comes on episode 3 or 4, but he wants to marry obviously another Indian, but he wants her to speak like it's the Hindu language, right? He wants her to speak the Hindu language, but he can't speak the language. And so the matchmaker was like, "Why do you want your wife to be able to speak the language and you can't?" And he said, "Well, the culture. I want to be like around the culture and stuff." And you know what? It might not be Hindu because Indians speak more than just Hindu. So I really apologize, but it's one of their languages, and he can't speak it because he grew up in the United States. So he was exposed to some culture, but he's not. I forget what they called it, but they have a saying that American Indians aren't really like.
I feel like you watched the season, the third season. Because was the guy okay? Was the guy a little bigger and he was
Yeah.
tall? You watched the
Yes,
third
you
season.
did.
You watched the third season, yeah.
Wait, Netflix told me season 1, episode 1. I'm so confused.
Because also the term you're talking about is
We
ABCD.
watched the same season?
Yeah, we all okay. So we all watched the same.
Good. Oh, good. Look at that. Look at
Look
the
at
guy.
God.
Look at universe.
Look at that. All right,
Okay.
cool.
But sorry. Continue. I just want to.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
putting my phone back on mute. Okay, continue.
Yeah. I was just like, wait, this is sounding like season 3 verbatim. But continue.
Okay, so I did watch season 3. Okay, so I don't really have to explain. Well, I have to explain for the audience, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay, so with him, I felt like he wanted an ideal, but I really didn't see him connecting with anyone so far. For real. He was just looking for, do you have these attributes? And honestly, I know that Western thought of love and Eastern thought of love are very different, because she's like, you gonna learn to love them. Just, find the foundational stuff, and then you guys will learn to love each other, because liking each other isn't really important, because liking goes in and out. You can like a little friend. He was basically like, you like your friends. But marriage basically is about having a family. It's about, surviving. It's about having someone there for you always. And it really made me change my stance on it, because when I heard about I feel the same way about arranged marriages, but matchmaking, I'm like, does anyone want to matchmake for me? Because I'm serious, because we used to do that anyway. Like, people would like hang out with different groups or whatever, and then they see someone in the other group and they'd be like, oh, who is that? And the person's like, oh, that's so and so, you want me to like get you, or someone be like, oh girl, I got this cousin and he real good. Not the other cousin, but this cousin. People used to do that anyway. But now we rely.
I'm screaming.
You know what I'm saying? So
wait, I thought I was on mute. My bad, y'all.
I'm screaming. I'm glad I'm funny. I need to move on to Black people, because we're struggling. We are. We're struggling in this. I'm serious. White people too, but I care about mine first. Listen. So I need her to move on to Black people, or if there's a Black one, like, point me to her, because I'm like, this kind of makes sense. I do want to be attracted to him though. That's the thing. That's the thing. I think me and her are gonna kind of nuck a few bucks, because if you send me a 40-year-old dude that's already balding and I'm 25 and got a head full of hair, I'm a feel away. And that might be my Americanness, but I'm a feel away.
I'm gonna do the church finger real quick. Girl, wait. So the dude you talking about, I wrote majority of their names down. The dude you talking about is Vishkash with the V. Vishkash, because I even wrote down his criteria. And I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, well, why he asking for somebody that speaks Hindu and he don't speak a lick of Hindu? And I was confused. But I do feel the same way how you feel. Like, if I want something attractive wise and she be like, no, that's not important. First of all, that's important to me. I don't need him balding, okay? I need his hair intact together, and we still young. He ain't even get to the age that they have it balding. Throw him back. But go ahead, back to you, girl. Go ahead. Let me put my phone back on mute.
Well, I was okay. So then, but I will say this. What I did like about him is that he didn't mention a lot of physical attributes, right? So I was just speaking of myself as a 25-year-old. If I were 50, I would have a different stance. You can start balding right here and stuff like that. I understand. That's what happens. Or even, here, I get it. 50, things change. But as a 25-year-old, I'm like, I mean, somebody that look like me. Anyway, what I like about him is that he didn't mention really any physical attributes. I think he said short. I think he did say short. But other than that, it wasn't like, oh, she got to be curvy, she got to be skinny, she got to have even nobody, what's crazy too? Nobody talked about teeth. And we good for talking about teeth, Americans. I think Americans are the only country like obsessed with teeth. I know nobody said anything about teeth. I was like, But anyway, so I like that about him. I think he did want to make a true connection, but I just didn't see it. Like, especially at the paint, when they were painting, I was very uncomfortable. I was like, somebody go home. I wasn't feeling it. I don't know. I was not kind of chemistry at all. The other girl he went on a date with, she just seemed very much like, I really want this, and I still didn't feel any chemistry. And I think the third girl, though, she was better. The third girl, she was extroverted like him, and they were talking and stuff. I think because they're a different culture, they express attraction differently. It's like more intellectual, and it's more like a wall, and they kind of know if they're really feeling each other, but they'll still be polite, and I'm not used to that. So it was very hard for me to be like, does he really like her? No. It was easier for the girl because she would say, I don't like him. Like the first girl that we are introduced to, she'd be like, no, because I felt so bad for the math teacher. I was like, give me the math teacher. I give him a chance. I liked him.
Bobby.
Yeah.
That was Bobby.
That was the only thing was he was short, but I was like, I can find somebody for Bobby. Hold on. I can find somebody for Bobby. Bobby's gonna get married. I like Bobby.
No, I like Bobby too. I did. I like Bobby too. I liked how he was just so like, he was so excited. And I know y'all, I know I'll be excited, okay? But he was like, he was excited. It's like he was really excited. Like even he was sitting at the table, he was like, he was just excited to be at the table. I was loving his enthusiasm. Like it was Bobby for me. It was the Bobby for me. It was the Bobby for me. JSM, what did you think of it? Thank you so much, Yam. Thank you, Queen.
I hated it. Oh my, no, I'm kidding. Can you imagine they'd be like racist Jerome, racist JSM before career comes out? No, I actually started watching this a few months ago. I started on the second season. I didn't finish it. But I started and I was into it a little bit. I started kind of dwindling a little bit and got off of it. Only saw like 3-4 episodes of it. So restarting it, I was glad to see some of the people from the other season come back. Like, first of all, they're all beautiful for real. At least the main characters. Not no Tino shades to anybody else. Okay, but the main characters are beautiful. The one girl who she went to India with her man and met the parents. I think she was in the other season. She's gorgeous. And I kind of I fuck with her because she was in the other season. She was saying like she wants someone who's self-sufficient, who's ABCD, because she does it all herself as well. And I was like, her, as you should. Talking about this season, this show was just very interesting because it gets me and us as Westerners thinking about marriage and kind of just different ways and love and whatnot. And yeah, so just so I can kind of have a standing of where I'm going with my points right now, because I did write some stuff down that I'll get to, but about the one Bishray, I forgot his name. Yeah, yeah, I was wondering that too. He had said that thing about, well, it was like in the I know, so now that I know you're talking about season 3, he was talking about that he wanted him to be like Braham or something. It was Brahim, I think is how it was spelled. And he wasn't that. No, Auntie. First of all, I love that they call her Auntie. Yes, Auntie. But no, Auntie has me cracking up because they'll be saying stuff and she'll be like, she'll say it maybe in the confessional, maybe get to their face, but they'll be saying stuff and she'll be like, and then even she'll say it or she won't say it, but she be having me dead. But yeah, what I noticed with a lot of them and with him as well. Sorry, I'm bouncing around. Also, he didn't have a lot of like physical things, but he did say he had the height thing. But then he commented on other people. He was like it's just funny because women, they if women can have, they all have like height requirements, but like if a man has it, it's like, then I'm like, but you have a height requirement. So what are you talking about? Like, I'm confused. What are you? Because you get more flack, but you have one. So anyway, what I noticed with a lot of them is that they'll have all these, you know, things like not that aren't physical, like, oh, I want them to be liberal, oh, I want them to be this, I want them to be Braham, whatever, or that religion or everything. But then when they get to the date, they don't engage in that at all. It's all about physical. So like Pariah, the first girl we meet, who I was messing with at beginning because her list seemed fair. She was like, I want someone liberal, someone optimistic, someone ABCD. I was like, period. That's my, like, I was about to take a screenshot. Like, that's my list. That's what I want. And then she got to meet Bobby. And I'll admit, for me, first of all, I think they did Bobby bold. Everyone else got, when they were doing their confessionals, everyone else got like a nice slick background, a couch, like a nice lens. He got a classroom. What? And so for me, he was a lot, and I know I'm a lot, but he was a lot. And so I was also kind of like, okay, you are enjoyable, but you're not for me. But Pariah, she went on the date knowing that he was 5'4", and then and saying she's wanting all this stuff. But then when she goes on the date with the next guy, she says, yeah, oh, she said to the bartender before the even date began, she was like, yeah, the last guy wasn't too good. He was 5'4", and it was just like, so it was like, you went in not even wanting to find another connection other than that. So you already knew going into the date that he wasn't physically 100% your type. You didn't go in trying to find anything else to relate to. And so I find that like kind of what this kind of the show is kind of, and that's also why I understand the attraction, and people want to be attractive, but also there's like a spectrum that people kind of don't want to like admit to, because like if we look at Hollywood, we can pick out 10, 20 people and we can rate them, and not everyone's going to be a 10. We could say a 10, a 9, an 8, a 7. There's a range, but people in this show and in life just kind of want a 10. And even if it's not like everything's not there, oh, the teeth's not good, oh, the eyes, oh, it's like even like the good stuff, unless it's 100, it's like not enough. And it's like, and to me, it's like you're going to a matchmaker because what you did in the past didn't work. And so what kind of annoyed me about Pariah is that she refused to meet one of the people that auntie picked out for her. And I'm like, so why do you have me? Why did you hire her? You know, because apparently what you're doing in the past didn't work. And I understand, yeah, she was like, there has to be attraction. There is, but also if you're hiring me for a job because you couldn't get what you were wanting in the past, don't you think maybe what you were doing, if you're hiring me, don't you admit that what you were doing in the past wasn't working? So before you even go back, so really it's kind of a defense mechanism to me. You're trying to be comfortable. I'm comfortable dating someone that I'm attracted to rather than going out and trying to be attracted to someone that emotionally, you know, because I don't know about anybody else, but I met people who I wasn't attracted to at first, but getting to know them afterwards. And I was like, oh, let me try to see about this person. It didn't work out because someone else snatched him, but it's okay. Um, but I think for a lot of them, that's their issue, is that they are looking for this ideal type of person. And to me, it's like, well, then don't hire Auntie. Go find that ideal person for yourself if you feel like you know what that is. But if you're hiring Auntie to find you someone, especially if she can get you 70 to 90% of what you're looking for you to be like, I'm not attracted to him. Like, I'm not attracted to him. I'm not even going to meet him. It's like, well, then don't hire me. Because at the end of the day, I'm trying to get you someone to marry. And if you can't do that, if you can do that yourself, then go do that. But you're paying me to do a job. So at least give me a chance to do that job. You know? And I really will go back, and one more thing before, I know I've been babbling, but just the thing with me with the attraction is like, I understand that, but like at least go to the date and see. Because I feel like there's also a different energy you get with people in person. And also people's pictures, I've met people both ways. People have looked better in their pictures. I have met people who look better, who are just not photogenic, who look amazing in person. So I think that was also, that kind of annoyed me that she refused to meet him. It's just like, why did you, apparently what you're doing in the past has not worked. So you hired Auntie, trust Auntie. If not, go do it yourself. That's just what I was like, yeah. But
Would you
yeah.
say purr? Would you say purr? You be like purr, okay? Because I feel the same way too. So I'm so thankful that we all are sitting here talking about this. Yam, shout out to you for picking out this amazing yet another one, media moments, because for one, we all have been either in this dating space or looking for a significant other or however. So it's something, Jasmine, that you said, like they're paying money for this. So I actually researched how much they pay. Okay. Um, so her price is 1220 up to 6,000. $1,220 to $6,000 for a matchmaking auntie. Okay, auntie costs a pretty penny. And JSM, thank you so much for sharing your perception as well. Um, so it's a pretty penny for her, for Auntie. Okay, Auntie looked like she been doing this. She said she been doing this for 20 some odd years, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 20 years she's been doing this. So I really wanted to piggyback on both of you guys, what we all been sharing. For one, we already talked about how I felt about the scar, with him being wanting Hindi. So I get that. And then I just was like, then something I was saying, and he said it later on. I was so thankful he said it. And he was like, well, maybe someone that we can learn this together. And I was like, yes, that's what you want. You can't ask for something that you do not have yourself and say that's what you want. I get the fairy tale, the idea of it. But at the end of the day, I can't ask for no six-figure man. And I get we all want this. However, I mean, if it was something for him to come along, cool. If he wound up making it, cool. But I can't just be like, oh, I want a six-figure man if I'm bringing in three. Like, don't, you know what I mean? For me, I feel like it doesn't, it's not equally yoked. It's not equal, together to even request that. So with Priya, she pissed me off. She pissed me off. She pissed me off through the whole entire thing. Okay. I'ma just be flat out 100. She pissed me the hell off. I'm gonna tell you why she pissed me off. Hold on, let me go to Priya. Now, anyone just coming on, if you just meeting me, I write things down so I can remember as much as possible anyway. So let's go to Priya and Bobby. So I did like the fact that Bobby stated that, he wanted to project confidence. So I feel like that was like, all right, my man, because you're already short. So you got to bring a little bit more to the table. I'm loving it. I get it. But the 6 feet and over dudes, I mean, they be out here in the world, So when I feel like you under that height, you got to also make sure you bring, something great to the table, just only because a lot of people like height. And we can't be upset. I'm 4'7". I love to have a man that is taller than me, So I'm perfectly fine with that. So I like what Bobby said about projecting confidence. I feel like Bobby would need someone that is not energetic like he is, but someone who can get his energetic, and someone that can be on his energetic level, but be able to still bring him back into, his foundation, back into his reality of things. So he would need someone that is more understanding than anything. Priya pissed me off because the whole time she knew through that date, the whole entire date, that she was not feeling brother. She knew from the whole entire time. So I feel like if you already knew that you wasn't feeling him, you shouldn't have went out with it. But I also like that Auntie was sharing, like, well, these things aren't important. Now I do like, is Priya the one that was talking about the bun? Right, okay. So now I was kind of on Priya's side with it, because just a little bit. I mean, because I feel like if you do like something, for instance, I like tall men. I mean, I've had a short men in my life since, every once in a while, but they didn't make it through. They didn't make it all the way through the cut. Okay. They was booted out real quick. So it's like, I'm 4'7". I really enjoy a tall man. Not saying that I would just boot you, the short men out, but I mean, you will kind of almost just about get overlooked for the 6 feet tall dude, maybe 6'7". I'm cool with it, but I already know that, so I'm not going to necessarily go with a short dude. You know what I mean? Like, nah, I'm cool. But Priya went anyway. So I didn't like the fact that how she was feeling. So she was so tense through the dancing. She was trying to, like, what's the word I want to say? Like, she was combative through it. Like, her body didn't get what was going on because she was so stiff. She did say that she was petrified. She said, I was petrified through this. So I go look up petrified, right? Petrified at first. So petrified means deprived of emotional or intellectual, just the fertility of it. So she was frightened that one is unable to move and terrified. But then she was the opposite afterwards when she came out of it because her body was not used to having, woo, this fun. And I feel like that's what Bobby was to her. Bobby was fun to her. Bobby was something that she needed, but something that she would not be able to continue. Because even the whole time, she just was like, yeah, yeah. Like she was just like, she was different with it. Go ahead, JSM. She was just different with it.
Yes, and then well, two things also. They were since I'm a dance instructor now. I saw they were doing salsa, like actual salsa, but really, if you have a good leader, like he was kind of like breaking it down. He was like 1, 2, 3, 10. Like if you have a really good leader, you don't need to do that. So I was like, Bobby, you gotta lead better. But also with Bobby, I felt like what kind of was a turnoff for me is that he was really energetic, which was good, and I'm like that too. But what I think I noticed, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you have like actually he didn't do this, but it seemed like he'd be energetic when he was talking about things he liked and everything, which I love, but then he wouldn't share that same enthusiasm for finding out stuff about someone else. Because I feel like I can kind of do that too, but as soon as I feel like I rambled on about myself a lot, I'll be like, oh, sorry, how was your day? I don't even say that. I'll just be like, how was your day? What did you do? And then I'll be really interested in finding out that, like, oh, well, did you do that? Oh, then I'll try to, like, investigate them more and with that same enthusiasm that I had for myself. And so I don't know. I didn't really see him do that with Praya. I saw him be he was very excited about just minimal things like the tea. I remember he was talking about something about a teacup. He was like told a whole story about a teacup, and I was like, and then when Priya was saying right, I saw Priya. Come on, class, bougie. I'm classy,
Yes,
man.
put that pinky up, girl, when you sip that tea.
Hello, you already know she British. She British over here,
Yeah, she British.
isn't it? British, isn't it? But yeah, I just didn't feel like he would be able to tell like a 10-minute anecdote about the teacup, but then Pride would be like, oh da 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 da, oh I'm this, I'm a whatever she was, a health thing, and he would be like, oh okay, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
like wait
I agree. Yeah, I do. I agree. You know what? And even with that, like now I've had myself in predicaments like that where, like my kids will always like, Mom, you always coaching. You just always coaching. And I'm like, shit, I can't help it. This is fun. You know what I mean? But I did have to learn how to not necessarily turn it off, but more so learn that if I'm in a two-person conversation, me and another person, where I also have to allow that person in, like you said, well, oh my gosh, I'm rambling about me. Like, how was your day? So I'll find myself sometimes in that space. And when I listen to myself, I feel like, okay, I done talked about this 4 times already. I still didn't ask him how was his day, like what did he eat? So I'm learning, especially in my relationship, like I'm learning that, I'm learning that, okay, you can talk about you, but then now talk about, hey, let's talk about power. Hey, babe, how was your day? Or what did you eat? To be able to not just talk about me or just coaching. So it is sometimes a little difficult for transitioning. But I feel like with Bobby, he's going to also need someone maybe that also likes to talk numbers like he do. You know, is it's like it's a good thing when you do have someone that you can confide in a relationship, and you guys have a lot to your interests are the same or similar. But I also think that it's very important too to have some opposites so that you can have things to discuss and grow with. So I feel like although in life we always want that person that mirrors us, but we also need that person that doesn't mirror us so much so that we can always grow within that unknown space. And long as we still have breath in our body, we should still be growing within those unknown spaces. So it's difficult. Go ahead.
I want to ask her my so I agree that I agree that he was like more low key when she spoke. But if you see the way that Praya talks, it's hard to be like a lot of energy. I'm not trying to diss or anything, but it's like it's hard to give a lot of energy for someone who talks like this and is obviously reserved and is holding back. And it's like, what is he supposed to give? I think he was being real. Now, if he had been energetic bunny the whole time, no matter what she gave, I would have been like, oh, you just desperate, you know? But I think he is excited about what he does. I think he um he is a confident person, but he also knows his own shortcomings when it comes to other people, but he's going to be himself, you know? And I think dealing with kids, he already knows that he's a geek. He already knows that he's what's the word they use in Abbott Elementary for that white teacher? Gosh, the word with, you know what I'm talking about, Jerome? When the white teacher, the kids be making fun of him, but they love him. They said that he's like a,
I forgot. I know you're talking about Jacob, but
I can't remember, but it'll come back to me later, probably when this is over. But anyway, he knows who he is. He knows that he's a bit dorky, whatever. But, you know, he should be with someone who truly appreciates who he is. I feel the opposite, Queen. I'm glad that she went ahead and saw for herself full through. Because if she stopped midway, then people would feel away like, well, you didn't even give him a chance, you know? So at least she can 100% say, I went on a full, he met my family. I went on a full date with him and I tried, but I just didn't feel him, right? And I could tell he needs someone with her kind of reservedness or like just ability to like listen, but just more excited about
More present. Cause she was, I'm gonna be real, like I get it, but she, like, even when you said like how she talked, like, girl, I was like I was over it. And again, anyone who has ever met me, like, I am, hey, getting the party started 6:30 in the morning. But then there is still a time where I'm like, chill. And she was so chill that his brain was going faster than her mouth was. So it was just like, I didn't see how far that they was going to go. I really didn't think that they was going to get to the end of the date. I'm gonna be real with you. I was thinking that it was just not going to go well. like she was just going to leave off the show or something, because it wasn't working. It was too much.
That's why I appreciated that she was honest. I appreciate that she was honest. She was like, no. Now, this next guy, I think she has emotional attachment issues because of her previous husband doing her dirty, you know, and so it freaks her out, I think, when a guy is really into her. I have a similar thing, but my thing is timing. She didn't mention timing, so I think she has a attachment type issue. Which kind of all, but because I understand, I don't like it if someone like seems so into me like after I just met them. I'm like, okay, you're either desperate or you like have never talked to someone before, because that's very middle school. But I feel like he was just like, I enjoy talking to you, I really like being around you. I think he did use the L word. I think he was like, you know, I'm feeling feelings like love, but the way that he said it to me was like, this is very exciting. Let's see where this goes. It didn't give desperation to me. He's just very open about how he feels and he can express it. Because he gave me like, I feel this way right now. Like right this,
Right.
you know. So I think that freaked her out, but I think that was a good freak out because she needs to be emotionally available. She needs to be able to hear these words, because why else are you going to do a love marriage? You know, that's what she wants, is a love marriage. Otherwise, she would just do arranged. So I'm like, you know, girl, go to therapy, get through your issues, because this.
There we go. What happened? Wait.
Oh, that was it. I'm done.
Oh, wait. Can y'all? Okay.
Yeah, you were muted. You were unmuted, and then you muted yourself to come back on.
Okay. Yeah, that's technology. I love it. It's so awesome in technology, isn't it? Especially when you don't know too much about it. It's amazing. But you know what you do? You just act like you know what you're doing, and then you research, and then you find someone who can do it. um, so I'm thankful that you even said, Yams, about of being emotionally available. So I felt like all of them need to go sit by themselves for a minute because none of them was prepared for anybody's marriage. I'm gonna be real with you because they still had a huge amount of trauma to work through. And that was like my thing. And I just was like, so how long were they single? And when they had been single all this time, or the little bit of time, what did they do in the waiting room? Like, what are they just complaining so much that they don't have a man or they don't have a woman? They want to find a man and they want to find a woman, and they just want to do this with someone. Or did they actually prepare to start to become someone's wife and someone's husband? I think that that's very, very important. Going through the dating scene, there was a moment when, and maybe you all can attest to the dating part as well. Like, what was your personal experience throughout dating? Because I know mine. Shout out to my friends and family that have been on me through this journey. Y'all are the real VIPs, okay? Because it's really that thing in life when you go and you like, you know what, I want to share this with someone, whether if it's marriage or whether if it's just your significant other, spouse, however you want to choose to call the names, but someone you wanted to do this with. And I feel like we're going to talk a little bit more eventually about dating. I think talking about sex and things like that, just as people, I think that that's really, really great topics to, ping pong off of. And we will do that in other episodes as well. So stay with us always as we prepare for our show. So I would say throughout the dating part for me, it was like I kind of was almost seeing myself in some of their similar situations, in some space in my life where I never dated. It was just, of course, a hookup. As they call it now, situationships. What they say? What's the new thing? Not boo thing. Stinky link, sneaky link, sneaky link.
Sneaky.
Sneaky link. Because at first, child, I was so out of the era. I don't know where my JSM go.
I'm
JSM
here.
link one, two,
I'm
three.
here. I'm just
Okay, there you go.
looking. I'm getting my note. I had written notes about the show, so I'm trying
Okay,
to
you
get
good,
them
good.
on my
Ooh,
iPad.
okay. Because our Wi-Fi be making me nervous, child. So, I can really attest to, as far as that dating part where it was just like, I'm like, damn, like I just want to be with one person. Like, I don't want to go through 30,000 people to find this one person. And of course, sometimes in life, I guess we have to play this dating dumb game. And it's just like, I mean, if everybody just can find out really who they are, spend time with themselves instead of bringing the smoky mirrors, bringing all of their representatives. Child, just come with you and your baggage and see if somebody's gonna love your shit. And if they don't like your shit, what I mean, maybe figure out how you can maneuver through all your shit and get one shit less. You know what I mean? It's just one shit less. So that way that you can be able to be in a space with someone and y'all demons and y'all traumas are not fighting with each other, where it can be more simplicity and joy. It should be a joy to be with someone, and whatever they have, going on, and not another piece, another strain. It shouldn't be war outside, war inside of you, and then war in your relationship. Like, I feel like that is just so many different no's that's going on. No, no, no. Um, but with Priya, I feel like Priya. How you pronounce her name? Did you guys? I'm gonna say how y'all said it. What you say?
I think it was Priya. I think they were calling her Priya.
Priya. Okay, Priya. All right. Yeah, you said Priya too.
I said, y'all said Priya.
Okay.
Priya, and I got off of it. So
All right, what name we gonna use for this young lady? We gonna say Priya or Priya? What we got? What's
Priya. It's probably Priya because I know like was it Priya? The girl that's married to Nick Jonas. Her name Priya, so it's Priya.
okay? So we gonna say Priya. Okay. My bad, Priya, if we messing up your name. We love you, girl. We love you. Love you lots. So with Priya, like I feel like she really should not be looking for a husband. I feel like she needs to be really looking for herself. I'm gonna be flat out transparent. I think she needs to be looking for herself because I feel like in life that's what we do. We want to just, ooh, I want to be with somebody. But how about learning how to be with yourself first? I know for me it took me a huge amount of years to sleep in a king size bed by myself, without my children, without an intimate partner, and just me myself. Late at night, I used to be cuddled up in the fetus position, and I never liked it. I didn't like it until one day I was like, "What time you going home? Cause I need my bed, and like I need to." Yeah, I'm gonna see you later. Call me. Because now it was starting to be. I now enjoy learning how to be to myself too. I was learning how to be with everyone else, but I didn't know how to be with me. And I feel like that's really what happens in the dating scene. I feel like a lot of people, we just want to be with someone so bad that we forget about ourselves and learning how to, hey, get rid of them, figure out those father dramas, or that being emotionally unavailable. And Yams, I think you talked about that, just her being emotionally available. Real quick, do you all feel like in the dating scene that a lot of people come emotionally unavailable?
Oh, you go, Jay. You go, Jerome.
Okay. Are you serious right now? Yeah. I don't even, for real, I'm not even really dating like that, to be honest. I have been living that young gay life as in hookups, and I'm getting out of it now. Child, ooh, I hope my mom don't watch. I mean, she know, whatever. Anyway, child.
She know
Anyway,
now. She
uh,
know now, honey. He be hooking it
uh,
up.
listen, we grown. We grown. We doing a grown
I
adult
time we
things
grown
per.
here.
We grown. We doing grown adult things per. But even so, I feel like, and I'm not even gonna hide my. I mean, I'm gonna hide myself up, but also know that people who don't know me, I don't feel like I'm an arrogant person, but I do feel like I operate at and Yams as well, to be honest, because that's my housemate. If y'all don't know, but I feel like we operate at higher emotional levels, if just in general of like being aware of other people and being aware of our triggers and how it affects other people and how um just kind of, and also propaganda and just how things aren't just the way they were. It's like we're programming a condition from childhood to believe in all this stuff and not work through all this stuff. So I feel like a lot of people just kind of, I think the majority, I think it's actually just normal for people, society, kind of to just do what they're told, and and I think we see that now, the effects of that in our dating pool, because people are just kind of doing what they're told. So a lot of men are like, well, I'm just having sex because that's what men do. We just have sex, and then when I need a girl, I'll get the prettiest one. We don't really have to connect that much. We can just, and honestly, also I'm a homosexual, so I'm going off from what I see and what I hear from my friends, as well as what I see on social media and all the stuff. But what also happens with gay people as well, gay men and gay women, is that there's a ideal that people are going for. Actually, no, this is actually what I was talking about. Thinking about when I was watching this, is that people go for an ideal of someone rather than who they actually are, which is why also I kind of don't believe at love at first sight, or it's like people like after 3 months, like, I'm gonna marry this person. I'm in love with this person. I'm gonna marry this person. It's like, no, you're in love with the idea of them. You're not going to know them until you're living with them 24/7, all 24/7 all the time, because there's so many other things that are going to come out, and then maybe when that time comes, then yeah, you knew that you loved them back then. Well, no, you thought you loved them, and now you know you love them. But I don't believe when people are like, oh, I knew I loved them after 3 months. No, you don't know that person after 3 months. No one's going to know someone fully after 3 months, period. And so you're in love with that idea of who you think they are. And then if they become that idea, if they actually are that idea that you have of them, then yeah, you're in love with them. But a lot of times there's a whole bunch of other stuff that's not in this idea of like, wait, hold on, you're not. And that's why I think a lot of people do get caught up on attraction, because it's like, I have an idea of not only who I think I want to be with, but who I think other people would
Want
want to
me
be
to
with.
Want me to be. See, you better stop. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I am loving it. I even
Yes.
love the fact that you even share that. Like when I first started even looking into marriage, you know, I was raised in marriage. My parents had me, they were already married. So for me, I also believe that there's a different perception on being with someone who is coming from a married, you know what I mean, household to someone that's coming from a single household, or you know, maybe just a casual hookup, or they may have seen their parents, you know, dudes come in and out their mama house, or chicks come in and out their daddy house, you know. So it's like learning how to um make sense of relationships, because we only make sense of relationships from what we see, you know, or what we were taught, you know. So it's just a learning behavior, you know. So for the simple fact that when it comes to dating, like I first thought marriage was like that's what I'm supposed to do because my mom and my daddy are married and they're, you know, they've been married for 43 years, you know. And again, that was my idea, like let me just be with this person because I feel like this is what my dad or my mom would want. And that's how I actually almost got into a really dangerous engagement at one point in time in my life, you know, because it was like I was looking at the idea of what my parents wanted me to have and not the man for me, you know. And it just was like, well, Queen, well, what type of man do you like? I don't know, you know. And I had to really search and learn to, like, I mean, he all right, but it's not it, you know. All right, this is it, but is it really? You know, so I really had to go through the different channels of dating people out of my range, dating people that I would probably never hook up with, like Priya, you know, dating people where for real, you know what I mean? I started going out on dates and was like, he old. You know, but he has a really nice conversation. Let me sit and have this conversation with him. Maybe he's giving me something that I need in my dating life to go forward. You know, it may not be him is going to be the one for me, but maybe what he has will help me find the one for me, you know. So just learning the different, I guess, economics of relationships and the dynamics of um connections and people. I feel like we start to learn that when we start learning who we are, you know. Like Pre was like, no, I want to, what she call it, a man bun, a bun top, a top not top, what the heck.
Man bun.
Man bun, you know. So there was at one point in time in my life, I loved the man with hair, honey. He had to have it flowing like Fabio, okay. I needed like this sword, okay. um but then when I started learning that, like Auntie said, it's not, I get it, but for me now 41 is not as important. You know, I might be going a little bald on this side, you know, it's not as important. The older you I mean, I'd rather have a man that has an amazing conversation and that can make me laugh than to, you know, him having a bald spot. And I feel like if you have a bald spot, how about you? Would you like to shave it off? You know, maybe that's how we can just get through this process, you know. But having that dating part of knowing, like, am I emotionally available? Things like that, I think that means a lot in relationships. And then I feel like, Jason, like you said, a lot of people, they fall in love with the ideal of it. They fall in love with the representative. That's what they fall in love with. They don't fall in love with the real person. They fall in love with the person that, hi, you know, I would love to take you out on a date, girl. You know what I mean? Or I've had men that be like, damn, you fine, queen. No, you about to waste my time today, sir. No, never mind. Even just how you led that conversation, that is a leading into you about to waste my whole entire life. Miss me with it. You know, no, miss me with the cute anecdotes too. I need me the real one. And like even in my relationship, me learning how to, like, when we're still finding each other through our adulthood. So it's like there may be a moment or two where he may rub me the wrong way, I may rub him the wrong way, but we still come back together because again, we're learning ourselves in this in our adult spaces and be like, you know what, babe? I do like your wolfness. You're right. You know, it hurt a little bit at first when you said it, but the second time I was like, well, at least I know you're not no pushover. You know, so to have that in relationships, I think it means a lot when you know yourself, and then you'll be able to start knowing other people. So how did y'all feel about
Wait,
go ahead.
so, oh, can you, there we go. Oh, okay, there we go. So for me, I think I was very unavailable pre-pandemic. Oh, we'll say 2020 and before. Yeah, because men um can be very unemotional and I can too. So it's like, it's just like I used to be only emotional where I felt safe. And it was a thing for me if I knew that you were like sexually attracted to me. And then this is high school and college. So I'm like, I know what you want, you know? So it's just like the little games are like, oh, I love your personality and stuff like that. But, it's just like, I just love what you're about. And we've barely been talking. I'm like, you don't know me. So, that's why I really hope that like, I want to build like a friendship. Like we can start dating, but we're really building like a good friendship with it because I need to believe you when you say, I know you're a good person. Or like if I ask your opinion on something, it's not because you're thinking, oh, is she going to be mad and not like cuddle with me and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, so I was pretty unavailable because I didn't need the emotion because I had friends. I just was like attracted to this person, this guy, and I haven't dated a whole lot either. I've only dated like 4 guys. But I am a sapiosexual, so I have definitely felt intense emotions for people that I've never dated, because I just love who they are as a person. So I know that I am a very emotional person, so much so that I will block my emotions because I don't want to. I can overwhelm someone, and if they don't feel the same for me on that level, it would be like a lot. Like it wouldn't be fun. So I do think most people come in emotionally unavailable because too we think about when we talk about ourselves, we talk about like what we do, what our successes are, what we're interested in, stuff like that. Who you are is like what you cannot physically see or touch and stuff. Like it's like I hate to use the word politics because people make it politics, but it's really like, what's your spirituality? What's your philosophy? What is your look on life? How do you want to raise your children? Do you want children? Do you like children? Do you like animals? What do you like zoos, or are you like me where you feel like there shouldn't be zoos? Like, are you racist or are you prejudiced? There is a difference. Why? Taxes. How do you feel about them? It's just like, I think that's way more important than and also too, understanding finances and understanding, okay, if we were to get together right now with our finances, how would that work? Should we wait? What goals do we need to reach? Can we survive right now? Like people, and that's, even though that's not emotional, it's still like if you bring that up, a person can be like, I feel insecure about my finances. We need to go into that conversation, you know and people don't. They just wait till they get married and they're like, oh, I have debt. Well, that's your debt because you didn't tell, like, tell me everything now because we need to figure this crap out. So I feel like there's a communication error because communication leads to emotions. Communication breaks down that wall. So I think even like with your question, yes, but even more, I think we really don't communicate. We're just all about like what makes me look good. Oh, this person makes me look good, so I'm going to deal with them. I've kind of experienced that too, where I realize which makes me unattracted to someone. I can tell that someone's just using me for something, for an aesthetic or something. I'm just like, I'm over it. And that happened like kind of with my last boyfriend, where it was like I felt like he was showing me off to his friends because he would be pretty engaging when he was with them and I was there, but then when it was just us, he just could he was just not as engaging. He was just not as like communicatively, I think that's the word. He just could not communicate well. And I just knew like we don't match. Like I just want a boyfriend. Like I just wanted someone to like buy me. I'm saying like I just wanted someone to buy me stuff. I felt like I wanted someone to call me pretty. I kind of wanted the same thing too. And then I got over it after 3 months. And so I checked out and he felt that. And then we broke up. So now I'm at a place at 25 where not only am I emotionally available, but I've done a lot of self work. And I'm talking about myself too. So I'm not just saying the world is crap and I'm good. I'm now better able to be like, oh, that makes me uncomfortable. Oh, I don't want to do that. No. I'm still working on explaining my no, but I can at least say no. That was an issue for me, especially I think like women, we have that issue, but I think I'm more mature now to handle uh relationships, a serious relationship. I personally don't think for me with everything that I want that it's going to happen like right now, but hey, I've been surprised before. That's what.
Real quick, also I want to touch on, you were talking about um, people not communicating and being on different pages and stuff before, and then getting married and being still on different pages. We kind of see some of that with, dang, I forgot her name, but, and I hate to categorize her as that, but the girl I was talking about who's beautiful, who's from last season, who went to India with her man and met the fiance,
Oh,
not even the fiance.
you're talking
Oh,
about
viral.
Viral. Yep.
Viral.
Viral
Yes.
in his name with an A.
Ashe or something.
Ashe. Yep.
Ashe.
Okay. Her.
Yes.
Okay,
Um,
embarrassed. I'm going to learn their names. All right.
no, you good. No, I literally didn't even know her. I forgot. But then I was like, because I remember I kept saying viral. But I was like, I remember last season I said viral. But anyway,
Oh my
those two,
gosh,
they
I did
weren't
that too. I did that too. I was like, viral? That's not her name. Her name cannot be viral. He
like
might have named her
literally
viral. I was like, no, this is not right. But you got it. Okay, let me shut up.
viral and viral, viral and viral, viral and viral. Anyway, her and her man's when remember when they were at the diamond getting the rings and stuff and all the jewelry, and he had made a joke like, "Oh, are y'all getting married or something?" And then it was just kind of like awkward between them because I guess maybe they hadn't had a conversation or whatever. But like right there, like to me, like that's like there shouldn't be a question about marriage or not. If it's not talked about, we're not getting married. If, like that's right there. I feel like I kind of touched on people not communicating because it's like right there. That should be something talked about, and not even like something that should be something talked about. You should both be on the same page of where you are with that. To me, it's crazy that people have engagements, like have engagements, and they don't even. I didn't even know what's gonna happen. Da, da, da. What? You didn't know? That's crazy. That's actually insane. Like and people be like, I feel bad to say no. No, you should not feel. They should be bad. Feel bad for getting you on the spot without knowing your answer. You should know. You should know. Not think. I think she'll say it. No, you should know. She told me, or he told me in a conversation. If you were to ask me to marry you, I want to get married to you. Yes. Like it should not be a guess.
Would
Anyway,
you say per? Would you say yeah,
per
per?
per.
Okay. I do believe that those are conversations that should be had. Even when it comes to having children. Do you have children? Do you want children? I think all those things are something to be talked about because it's like, for instance, I can't have any more children. Now it's God in life, the universe, it happens. Okay, we'll talk about that later. But for the most part, the surgery is what they say it is. Okay. So my whole thing is when I go through dating or relationships, that's one of the questions that we have to talk about. Do you want children? I've met men where they didn't have children and they were maybe about 5 years younger than me. They didn't have children and I have children. I'm like, so, I mean, do you want kids? And they'd be like, yeah, I want kids. So this will not go on. This is really not going to work too well for you, especially if you really want children. I don't want to cut someone off from something that they still need to have in their purpose or in their life where I have already fulfilled that. Don't hold back for me, boo, and I won't hold back for you. So those are conversations I feel like that need to be had. YamZ, you said it too, finances. Those things need to be talked about. Why are we going into a marriage and First of all, why are we even looking at rings and y'all don't even know what? Come on, Nat. Y'all don't even know, you know what I mean, the whole thing of what you're doing. And then it was the whole point. She was just beating around things, and he asking her like, "Is this what you want? Like, you're not gonna bring me into no daggone jewelry store just to be like, oh, okay, well, that's the one you want next week. No, don't bring me in this store if we're not buying nothing today, sir. Okay, that's what we're not going to do. You know, so it was like when she was in that moment of the jewelry, she beating around to what she looking and all of this stuff. Okay, and I'm like, okay, this is cute.
My really came out. My inner gold digger really came out. I was like, girl, let me in there. Cause she was just like, I was like, oh, I like this.
Yeah, she was looking like, but I mean, I get it though. You know why I get it? I get it on a few levels. So I get it on one level because in life, when we aren't used to having something, right? You know, it could be a woman that can never really had a good man in her life, or whatever, and she finally gets one, or never really had a compliment, and she finally gets one. It's like, it's startling, you know. Sometimes you know, and you may have friends or something that, you know, family that may have experienced that, where as women, some women don't know how to take compliments. You know, I've heard some women that be like, don't call me queen. You're right, baby, I'll call you sugar. Okay, because I guess I can't call you queen. Okay, I call every woman queen. Okay, and I call every man king. You know, it's just a given birthright. So my whole thing is, I feel that part. So maybe she wasn't used to it. But then I'm like, girl, this man is in here about to buy you some jingle-ling-a-ling, some bling bling, and you trying to act like you don't know. Like, girl, you better let him make the decision, and you be like, yes. And he asked her twice, is
Listen,
that the one you want? And she like, she was,
listen, he was leading it.
yes, he
That
was.
he was leading it. He's grabbing this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I understand, but I can only speak from Patrice's perspective, right? And so if it were me, I would act like it was the norm, because when people see that you're like, oh, it can encourage people to be like, oh, so I ain't really got to do all that for her to be like. And it's not even be malicious, but it's just like a human thing where that's why people tell you to have standards, because even a nice, kind, whatever, good person will be like, well, they don't really require much. Require what you require, because if he has the funds, girl, you hit a jackpot. Because them I really liked, and I feel like they liked each other. I do think they were nervous about jumping the gun because it is still new. I get that, because she was born in America. I think he was born in India, but he's still Americanized. So it's still a fear of like, ooh, long term, and this is fast, and I'm feeling a lot of stuff fast. I get that. But my thing is, right, to me, marriage is priceless. So it's like, and this is speaking from a point of privilege as well. I don't know what her finances are, but her house looked good and her parents look set. Just saying. So materials are fun, but I'm gonna get over that quickly. So in that moment, I was like, girl, enjoy him wanting to, cater to you and stuff, like to show you, like, gift giving is a love language. Some people show their love, and so like that can be frustrating too, because I have that too, where like, well, I'm my service, if you reject my service, I'm a feel away. And so I think like gift giving is probably his love language, where he's just like trying to show her like, you are worth this, right? And for her to be so it's like, I have sympathy for that, but you're gonna have to get over that, because when some no it's kind of like, just because it's money, I put the same thing on her that we put on what's her name, Priyanka. Oh shoot, did I say the name?
Who Priyanka? Wait a minute, I ain't meet this heifer yet. Who
She's talking about
Priyanka?
Priya, girl. She's talking about Priya. She said
Nobody gave her a
Priyanka. She
new
put a
name,
little black in that
Priyanka.
bitch. She put a
Wait,
little black in that.
Priyanka is real. Somebody named Priyanka out here.
Girl, she ain't on this season.
I
Not
think
at all.
that's Russian though. Priyanka. I don't know. Jesus, I don't know. But I'm horrible with names. But same thing with her, where she couldn't accept affirmation, words of affirmation. And we're like, go to therapy. My thing is, if you feel like you are not worth some diamonds, and this is speaking from privilege, right? Not that I've seen a lot of diamonds, but I've been middle class to where I'm like, if someone gave me a diamond, I would be so, so happy, but I wouldn't fall out. I would be like, oh my God. And I just feel like she was acting like this was like, what can I equate it to? To me, her reaction was like if he was like, let's go to outer space. That's what it was given to me. Yeah.
Like the unknown, like something that she never, That's why I was like, I mean, I get it. That's why I say I get it once. All right, for 2 seconds, I get it. Okay, you may have, what I mean, for 2 seconds. But that third second, it should have kicked the hell in. Like, come on. Like, he just really was sitting up there. He was looking. He was like, oh, that would be nice on you. And she just was like, yeah, like, after a while, like you said, if he may, that may be his love language. He may, want to be like, all right, I never really had a chance to spoil a woman before. Maybe I want to spoil you, or maybe I feel like you're really worth it, like you said, to be able to be spent on, because although, y'all women out here, and I'm gonna say y'all women, I'm gonna say us women, yeah, I normally, most of the time I try to include myself, but every now and again, sometimes I just don't fit the piece because I normally come with my own stuff, but every now and again, so it's like when it comes to women, I feel like, prime example, with my daughters, I have always raised my daughters as like, you're beautiful. I love you. You're beautiful. You look at you. Oh, girl, you is gorgeous. Like, I pipe my kids up so no man have to pipe her up and she, oh my God, no one ever called me beautiful before. What? Your mama or your daddy or your friends and somebody in your family, your auntie, somebody should have told you, baby, you are beautiful. Oh, you wearing that shirt. You wearing that dress. I love your hair. Those compliments are still another point of love languages, and being able to help boost someone's self-esteem, not just their confidence, but their self-esteem. And I feel like, again, going back to what we were talking about prior on how being emotionally available, a lot of times people are emotionally available because they're not even available for themselves. And it's like, you want that person that don't even know themselves to lead you and guide you? No, throw her back too. No, like, no, because instead of jumping into relationships, we don't know how to jump into our relationships of having that communication with ourselves. Hey, you know what? I don't like that. Please don't ever do that again. But in life, people will be like, oh no, this person is difficult. No, but I'm not difficult. You just not gonna do. I don't like when you do that. You know what I mean? That made me feel some type of way. Like me, don't play with my belly button. I don't like that. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna tell you off the rip. I don't care how much I love you. Don't play with my belly button. Okay, it makes me feel some type of way. Okay. So, but it's like what we do is we'll go into and be like, what's wrong? Nothing. This is what women typically do. Nothing. They slamming doors and slamming everything. No, something is wrong. Let's speak about how we feel. And you know what? The last time you touched my belly button, I didn't like it too much, But it's like we're not able to be honest with ourselves, even with the most simplest things. And it may be funny, but really, that's really how I feel. Like, do not. Like, my kids would say, "Oh no, don't do that to mommy." So I feel in that space, learning how to be authentic, learning how to speak up for yourself. Hey, I don't like when you do that. I'm not mad at you. I'm not frustrated. And again, communicating in a healthy way to be like, hey, I really didn't appreciate that. And then that person, hopefully, that person can be in a mature space to be like, you know what? My bad, queen. I would never touch your belly button again. I see how it made you jump from the floor to the ceiling. I don't even want to disturb your belly juices like that. I don't even want to do that. But that's still a person that, if you care about me, you love me, you are listening to me, you are listening that bothered me, and you won't do it again. And I feel like that's sometimes why people come into relationships emotionally unavailable, because they don't know that, hey, don't touch my belly button. But they'll let people touch their belly button and get angry and then don't say nothing. No, Queen, King, say something about it, because it may be that one person that be like, you know what? I didn't even know. My bad. Like, come here, let me hug you. I'm sorry, and then you can go on from there. So I feel like within the dating scene, I feel like, again, instead of jumping straight into the dating scene, okay, I did it numerous of times and it doesn't work, because now you're moving in like a tricycle with someone else's trauma and problems, and they trying to figure it out, you try and figure it out, and like all of a sudden y'all just like back and forth, like y'all not together. So I feel like in dating scenes, I feel like, listen, go hit your therapist up. There's nothing wrong with therapy. It's nothing wrong with a coach. There's nothing wrong with it, baby. Go ahead, JSM. I see you, baby.
Ooh, is there echo? Oh, okay.
Hold on, let me mute
Clear my
mine.
phone up real quick.
Let me mute mine. Go ahead.
But I wanted to come back for my girl Vero real quick. Actually, in last season, I actually kind of was on and off with her. But with the diamonds thing, I think mostly it was. I don't even know if it was a self-worth thing or anything like that. But what I saw was just that, and also I saw this before throughout the whole four episodes that I had watched. But she just doesn't communicate well, or like when she's put on the spot, she's very much so frazzled, and so that's something I think that she needs to explore. But as for the love languages, you also, when you are dating someone, you need to find out what their love language is to better affect them. Because for me, like, and this could be just kind of a guy, or I don't know, but like $15,000 on diamonds that I'm not going to wear really ever, I'm probably going to be looking like, I mean, I can really speak, so I'd be like, boy, don't do this, because I'm not going to wear that. Because to me, my love language is being there. Like $15, like, so it's like I don't, not that I don't think I'm not worth $15,000, but I know your time is way. If you have that, you have more to spare. You have more money to spare. Money is not nothing to you, but your time. For me, that's more valuable. And so I don't know if that's what her mind was. It could have just been like she doesn't know her worth. That then she does need to go get some work. But yeah, for me, for seeing that, I was like, there's just there's a disconnect there that they haven't been communicating. But if that is his love language of buying stuff, and that might not be hers, then they need to talk. They need to have a conversation, because yeah, I know for me, $15,000, I'd have been like, on some $15, you better buy me a plane or something, so I can use that to like 15 for some earrings I'm gonna put on, so I can look nice in a picture that people aren't even gonna know that's $15,000. Are you serious?
Yes, you see mine was $2, okay, at the
Okay.
hair store. Okay, and it still be blinging. I like 50 at it.
But that's a good example, bro. He bought her a plane. I would have been like, all right, wait a minute now. Is it my plane? Is my name or your name? Do I get to use it, or why'd you buy me a plane? Like, where we going? And like, do you have, or I would have serious inquiries if someone bought me a plane. Do I have to pay for the jet? That's really what be, costly. Like, I would have questions, and I would freak the fuck out if someone bought me a plane. Okay. If you're not my, like, if someone bought me a plane and there was no discussion and stuff, like, I don't even know if she knows like how much he's financially worth it. I feel like she might, because this might be wrong. I feel like this is wrong, but I feel like other races are better than us with talking about money. I think they're very straightforward, and we be not. But I did think about that, and I agree that it's better for him to go for what makes her feel loved and not what makes him feel good loving her. I agree to that. She should communicate that, because if you don't communicate it, it's giving, you're making him look like this is like, to me it was giving she was uncomfortable but she didn't say anything, and so he had to like read the room and ask her. If someone gotta ask you multiple times, I don't like that. Because I can struggle communicating too, but if you ask me the questions, I can go ahead and get it out. So if someone asks you the question, do you like this? I think this looks nice. Do you like this? Do you like this? Do you like this? Do you like this? Answer the like. I was like, girl,
Wait,
go and get out this damn shop.
girl, I thought I was the only one. Like, and it's funny that y'all even said it about their energy. So this is what I literally wrote about them. I said their vibe was giving me double Dutch energy. Okay, it was It was so weird. Like it's that weird thing. You know how you walking down the street, the person walking here, you got Bob here and Sally here, and they walking and they kind of do their dance. That's what it felt like. It felt like they were dancing, and I'm like, so either one person needs to stop so the other person can move, or maybe they can just try to go opposite ways. But this whole friction that they had going on for me, it was giving such a double dutch vibe, and I was just ready to either jump in the rope or just take the rope in general because it was bothering me. So I didn't really get the whole thing, even when it came to meeting the parents. Like it was, I don't know if it was me. Did y'all notice that the parents seemed kind of dry? Like
I'm
it
screaming.
was like I'm like, you know, when you put that whistle in a room, like it's just like, so where is Bobby? Like I was like, where is Bobby? When they was like, take Bobby. Wait,
Wait,
what
it
was that?
was dry actually. Thinking about it, now thinking
Yes,
about
it was just giving me. You got dry
it.
eyes. Like it was really weird with the double dutch thing going on. So I was really trying to figure out all their chemicals. It wasn't working well for my
I'm
chemicals.
screaming.
So
But also, I did want to. I don't know if you had this on the agenda, Queen, but like, I also thought it was an interesting thing to talk about how involved the parents are in the selection, because that's really, I feel like, kind of maybe not vastly, but pretty different from Western culture. I know people are involved, parents are involved, but not as integral with that. So just talking about that, if that was, and also if you have other things you want to talk about per
nah, I mean,
platform.
I'm honestly, I'm good with this. I'm good with this. To be honest with you, because I feel like it's this is one of the things I always wanted to talk about. I always wanted to talk about dating. I always wanted to talk about those taboo, I guess you could say, topics that really aren't taboo because we're all experiencing it. So I feel like we're all experiencing. Let's not sit down and have a conversation about it. Easy peasy. But I'm glad you did bring up about the parents because I actually wrote their names down and on the side of who the kids were with them. I think that it was really important that the parents were involved. Um, I like that all the parents, from what I remember, all the parents were married for over 30 something years, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't catch like the first one or two, but the rest of them, they seemed like they was like 34, 40 some odd years. So like I was really appreciative of that moment. I think that it was very important that the parents were involved. Um,
Hold on. I'm sorry. Jerome, can you mute?
Oh, sorry.
you go. Thank you, Glenn. Um, I think that it was very important that the parents were involved and they weren't involved like, oh, you shouldn't be with that person. They weren't involved in that way. They were involved in a way that to more of a support, more of a moral, I guess you could say moral support. And it was also sharing like how like their experience of arranged marriages. And if I'm not mistaken, all their parents were arranged marriages. If I'm Yeah, I believe, yeah. So, because like I said, I didn't start really writing things down like until maybe the second, more going to the end of the first to the second one. But I really do think that it was important because it was more like they were really giving their insight on what they seen in both of them, what they seen in them individually, and what they seen in them together. And I think that it was just an important, part how they was just sharing how did they first meet. I know I would always ask my parents like, how did you first meet? Um, from what I heard, I believe that my mom took my dad from somebody. That's what my auntie said. I don't know if that was true or not. Okay. I don't know. Again, taboo stuff. Okay. But I also feel like that's a good thing to share with your children, on that, because again, it's again teaching them about relationships, and not giving them the sense, oh, you have to have an arranged marriage, but just giving those perceptions so that your children can see more than just a hookup, see something that really lasts. Is Yam's frozen because her smile has been stayed there for a while. Her smile is like stuck there. Yeah, she's frozen. Um, but when it comes to that, now how did you feel, JSM, when you first seen the parents? Like what? Okay, yay, she's back. We see her smile. She's waving. She's laughing, and her shoulders are moving. So, yeah, Jason, like, how did you feel, when seeing it? Because I know my parents weren't like active in my relationships. Like, my parents never was like, hey, no, don't be with that person, but they were still present in some type of way. So how did you feel about that?
First of all, that had me screaming because I didn't think, because you said that, I was like, no, I don't think she is, and then it was just there, and I was like, oh no, girlie's frozen.
Yeah, I'm like,
So
I was
that
waiting for
had
you to
me.
blink. I'm like, wait. I'm like, I mean, I know we all have beautiful smiles and stuff. And I was like, I can hold a smile for a little second or two. I said, but damn, she got me beat. I gotta figure out her master plan. And I was like, wait, her eyes aren't moving. Okay, I think she's frozen.
Oh my gosh, I'm screaming.
And I was like, thank God I just naturally stopped on a smile, I think, because did I stop on a smile?
Yes, you did.
Good, because you guys just became black and like that sad circle was spinning. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Side note, but I thought it was interesting. I just know it's like so different from our culture because also I think there's just so much different cultural aspects of it because I don't know if this is a Western thing, but I also feel like our parents try to, at least here, try to make many replicas of themselves sometimes rather than what's best for the kid. And so I don't know if that would work with a Western side or specifically with America. Because I know for me, my parents' preferred spouse for me is a woman. And it's like, that ain't go. I mean, I'm open. Like I am gay, I think. But like, if someone wants to come and I connect with a woman, that's just that. And I'm not like no woman, not like that. But it's like
Right.
as far as hasn't been that. Um, but so yeah, I thought it was just really interesting their input, but also thinking about how you were saying it. Their input really wasn't anything like kind of projecting. It was really, it's like you need someone who you connect with. It doesn't all. And then they actually were saying, they were kind of saying you need to compromise too, to a lot of them. Like, they're so picky, they're so high, they need to, marriage is a compromise. You need to find the compromise within it instead of trying to look for everything. You're not going to get everything. So I really like that, bring some of the realism into it, like, especially some of these people 30, 40 years old. Like, and I'm saying that's old, but I'm saying, like, come on, you're not 16. You can't be like, oh, well, he's on the basketball team and, he does, like, girl, no,
Like, he
you got a whole
needs
career.
Jordans, Oh my God, he
Like,
has to. Oh my God, he has to write poetry all day to me and tell me how much he loves me. Like,
you know, you
which
know,
I do love the poetry. You do have to tell me you love me all day long. But I was just saying that's just me. So I do get that. Yes.
but yeah, so I like the way they were doing it. I think over here in America, it would really be taken like to an extreme, and it would be almost like people are kind of like actually Yams. You know how in acting class we have that one script of the Meadow of Somerville, and you know how Kat is like, oh, let me look at you, let me get a good look at you, kind of like that. It's like I want the spouse that I want for the spouse that I want for my kid, and it's like I'm projecting that on you, even though you're a different person, and the same things that go for me aren't for you. Whereas I feel like within well, at least from this series that we've seen, they're really looking for what is going to complement the kid. They're not even looking for specific things. They're literally just like, you have to compromise on some of your things. I'm not even going to point out which ones you need to, but some of them you need to let go. And so, yeah.
What about you, Ian? Thank you, JSM.
So, I felt like it was cute, but they just want them to be married, so they were just gonna say yes to anybody. And to me, honestly, that's annoying.
I'm screaming.
I'm like, I would like that. Honestly, it was annoying. I just needed them to talk about their personal marriages. That's when they lit up the most. But talking about their kids, I was like, save it. Because y'all just want them to be married, and then you would learn to love them just like you learn to love each other. Like, that's what the culture is. So honestly, for me, I was like, if it had been like one of the fathers or one of the moms was a bit harder, they were like, who are you? That's interesting to me because that's showing like they love their kid, they love their family in a way that is protective. And and they really want to scope out if this person is good for their child. But if every single one of them was just like, oh yeah, they seem great, you know, I'm like, oh, not me trying to do the accent. I'm sorry, but I was just like, okay, y'all just want them to be married, because I feel like I remember the first time I brought a boy home to my mom, I was very disappointed in her. She was so nice. She was so
What'd
nice.
she do? Like, what'd she say? Like, if you remember, like,
Um,
what was the?
like she was, I don't remember. I think she definitely called him handsome, which he was. But he was just talking about himself, and she was just engaging, with him. She was just being really nice. She didn't ask him no tough hitter questions. She didn't ask him, what do you see yourself doing in the future? Are you thinking about any colleges? Um, like just nothing. And I understand I was in high school, but still. And then I remember when I was in college, my dad really disappointed me. Like, he was getting along better with my boyfriend than me. Like, he was talking, like he was doing the opposite, where he was like teasing me and they were laughing. And I was like, y'all haven't known each other for like years for this to be a cute little son-in-law, father-in-law, or something like that moment. I was like, why are you not grilling him? Because he didn't even see like the boy that I dated in college, he smoked cigarettes first and last time. But the way I was able to deal with it was he never really smelled like cigarettes, ever. He always did it when I wasn't around because he knew I didn't like it. Or even if like I think it was a couple times when I was around, I was like, I don't like it. And he was just good. Like, his, I think sometimes his clothes smelled like smoke a bit, and he would literally change it. So I will give him that. I forgot about that. I'll give him that. He really worked around me. But yeah, my dad was just, he didn't even ask like, do you smoke? Do you drink? What's your occupation? Like, blah blah blah. I had to tell him that. I didn't tell him that he smoked and stuff. I had to tell him like what he did, something. So I feel like if you're gonna be involved, be a little tough. I'm not being objective at all. I just think we need to be more protective of our children. Like, be friends with them later. This is your child. This is someone that can potentially help bring another child into the world. If it's a heterosexual relationship, be a little tougher. See who they are. Because if I have love goggles on, you need to see through the bull crap, and you've been through here before. So I wanted to see that, and I didn't see that, and I hope I see that in the future if anybody is watching.
Also, though, can't you take that as you feel like maybe what if they felt that they trusted you enough to make your own decisions about who you're dating? That they raised you enough to like not, because honestly, also they could lie. Do you drink? No. Do you smoke? No. Do you do no? Where it's like you're gonna know that stuff, and it's like even if they were to be hard, like who said you're gonna listen? So I don't know. Well, I guess I want to know your answer to that. Do you think maybe they thought they just trusted you enough?
So yeah, they trusted me too much. Like, and it's not the fact that like I have bad judgment, but when I wanted a boyfriend, I just wanted a boyfriend, and I settled both times. You know, so like, I knew my worth. I knew it wasn't end game. I knew both of them wasn't end game. But I feel like as a parent, like, you should be able to fish. And yeah, you can lie. They can lie. But then we know you a liar because, things come out. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, what kind of person is this? There's something else you said at the end. They trust my judgment. Trust my judgment, but I still have goggles on. You know?
So
You know,
I'm
you
sorry.
know, it's my decision at the end of the day. But you may see something that I don't. And I do value my parents' opinions. And more likely than not, someone's not going to automatically break up with someone, right? But if you see something, and then I can consecutively start seeing it, and I'm like, oh, I do see this. At least now where, and I can make the choice whether that's okay with me or not, or I can bring it up to them and they can potentially change it if they feel like, you know what, I do this. Oh, you notice they real passive aggressive every single time. You kind of make them upset. They kind of say something a little slick, but they don't say that you made them upset. You notice that? I don't like that. And then
That's deep, Queen. That's deep.
like,
You're welcome. Um, So is it more you kind of wanted, you was looking for them to be the more of the parent, basically? Like, yeah, you wanted them to parent. And I don't know where I've heard that somewhere in my life, but I heard that maybe I don't maybe my parents may have said it about just children in general. But I feel like one day I heard someone say, and it was like, well, you know, some kids really look to be reprimanded, I guess you can say, or some kids look to be like they like, for instance, if like I know I got called in the house. Me and my sister would get called in the house all the time early, and everybody on the block used to be like, "Oh, that's roll call." We were like, "Nah, we coming back out. We going to eat dinner. We ain't never come back. We ain't never come back out." You know. So it was just like, what can we say? We weren't allowed to go back outside after dinner. You know what I mean? Clean up, go upstairs, you know, get ready for bed or get washed up or whatever, put your nightgown on, and good night. You know, so it was just like, okay, cool, but they were parenting, you know what I mean? So it was like, even though I didn't, it pissed me off, but they still had those moments to tell me no, you know? So I think that's what it is that sound like I'm hearing with you, where it just was like, I still didn't know my best judgment. Like, although I was bright and, you know, all of those things, and I knew me, but still, you as the mom and the parent, the dad, like, you still should have got into those deeper questions or asked those better questions, so I wouldn't be still having those love goggles on, especially if you see me with them like, oh my god, he's the best ever. You like 2 days into it. It's like, no, mom, dad, like, you see me in here falling into this love bomb and you ain't even get my ass out of it. I'm like, how dare you?
I do want to. Oh, sorry. I do want to conclude too, real quick, to why, you know, I'm like, well, why should you think that way? Blah blah. I come from a divorced home, so I'm like, can somebody help? I don't even have a bad example. You know what I'm saying? I don't got no example. They got divorced when I was like 3, and I don't remember none of them being together. So I'm just like, all I have is sitcoms, movies, the little bit I get maybe from other people's families, and that's just all political when other people are around. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, help me. You know that phrase, like, help me. But then I realized they couldn't. That's why it didn't work for them. And then, you know, so I let that go. So I let it go, where it's just like, how's someone going to teach you to see things that maybe they didn't see for themselves, or even though my mom comes from I think a really good marriage. I don't remember seeing my grandparents together because my granddad died when I was 3. But sometimes people, even if they come from a 2-parent household, things just don't click, you know, even if it's great. Like, sometimes someone just has to learn for themselves, or they're looking, or the example that they had, they don't want, or the whatever sex they're attracted to, that parent does not represent what they want. I think if you live in a 2-parent household, and their marriage is exemplary, and you like the same traits that of the parent, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, if it's like I like traits that my dad has as a father, so I at least know, okay, I look for these traits in a man, where he's good at finances. Like, even if you don't got a lot, you know how to budget. I know once you get some money, we gonna be good, because you're not, you know, that's something. My dad likes to garden. Okay, can you cultivate something? What's your hobby that you just really get into? Like me as an artist, you know, that's something I get into. If you like whatever you like, does it make your eyes sparkle? That's attractive to me. I at least know that. But narcissism has to learn the hard way. What's something else? Manipulation had to learn the hard way. There's a lot of things.
Insecurities.
And it's things that maybe my dad, but he didn't realize, so he never gave me the talk of, look out. I never had to talk with my dad. I've never had a sex talk with my dad. I never had the only thing he told me was make sure they sign a prenup. And
Okay, I did. Wait a minute, hold on. I like that. Wait a minute, hold on now. Hold on. Okay, wait a minute, hold on. I love it because
That's
instead of him really, so I had the sex talk and it went in one ear and out the other. So I feel like I should have had the financial talk or the prenup talk. I feel like one or two of those should have had been in the pastor's speech when he was talking to us. Like, you know what I mean? So, like you said, you grew up in a divorce home where I was raised in a very religious home. You know, my father is a reverend, my mother is an evangelist. So, from probably the time I was able to walk and speak, I was always in church. And it was like, who cares about what you want? Who cares about the food you like, the music you like, the cartoons you like? This is about what we say and what we say only, and who gives two flying crabs. I already checked it in with God. Since God said yes, I'm saying yes. You got to get the no. You know, so to be able to hear, you know, your concept of where you're coming from, I was raised on smoky mirrors. You know, I'm just learning how to speak those now at 41. I was raised on straight smoky mirrors, you know, and when I get out here, it's like, so this is really not what y'all taught me at all. Y'all forgot to mention this. Oh, and all of these things too. Like you just never gave me that talk. You gave me the sex talk, or you gave me to the be good talk, but you didn't give me the talk on when it comes to everyone else out in the world that I need to be looking out for. Like you say, I needed that parenting, you know, with the dating. I didn't have that either. The only thing that I had similar, but I didn't have the full thing. But what I had was my father more scared the living shit out of the dudes. Like it was just period. Like he had to know what church you went to. Is your mama Christian? Is your daddy Christian? Where they work at? You know, so we did go through those dynamics, but I still didn't have the dynamic to know what not to look for. You know what I mean? And so with me not knowing what to look for, I ran in it completely until maybe a few years ago. 2 years ago, I started dating, maybe almost 3 years. And just learning that concept of dating, like, yeah, you smoke cigarettes, that's a no. Mm-mm. Yeah, you don't got a really great relationship with your mama. That's a no. You don't even take care of your children. That is a double, triple no. Just we're not gonna do that. You know, peace, peace in the Middle East. You know, so really learning how to find that, I guess, happy medium within myself with dating. I didn't really start getting it till just a few years ago. You know, so going through the piss pool and the dookie pool, because that's what I feel like the dating pool is. It's like really so many different infections of just everything and everybody and spilling and oozing on everybody instead of like, you know what? How about I just try to figure this point out? Let's see what I like. Let's see what I love. Let's see what bothers me, what don't. So I feel like just in the dating point, I do feel like the parental point, I feel like it really helps out a little bit for me anyway. I feel like it helped out a little bit because I kind of wish that my parents were a little bit more involved when it comes to relationships because I feel like um and it's something you said earlier. You was like, well, how can they teach me something that they really didn't have? So I definitely get that 1000%. And I believe that that's where my parents were. They, like my parents they were so much into the church that they didn't really see how much that, you know, my sister and I, or even my brother, like you know what I mean? We're children of the church, but we also are individuals, you know, and we are coming with different individual needs that needed to be met. And I'm not sure about my sister or my brother, but I know for me, I didn't really get those needs met. And, you know, I am very emotional. I'm super, super emotional. Matter of fact, I'm actually emotionally intelligent. If you want the, you know, the actual word for it, because of my brain, you know, and it does stay on like a medical form that like I have part like a brain damage on part. So yeah, it does. It says on mine, and this was about 12 years ago that this paper was done through the state, you know, through when you get your IQ, there we go, you get your IQ form. So that was about a few hours of like over stress of just really trying to look at pictures and all that thing on how your brain works. So I am going to go a little deeper. I do want to go and get my brain actually, tested through was it a brain doctor, a neurologist? Am I saying it right? I don't know. Yeah, okay. So, but through that concept, it's like I'm still smart, I'm still intelligent, and I have something that maybe other people don't have, and they may have something that I lack of. And that lack that I didn't have, I didn't receive that information. So going through relationships, it was just like wonk wonk, like, okay, let me just get the basics. But now it's like, no, sit down, sir, let's have a seat. What we're going to, well, how do you deal with your emotions, when you're going through something? What do your credit look like? What, those different topics that we need to talk about, I feel like, as humans, to be able to be in the same room and to find the person for you. So I don't know, like I really enjoyed, I really did. I really, really enjoyed this. At first I was like, okay, where we going with this, Yams? And then I was like, okay, I'm glad we went there, Yams. Like, I really liked it. I love the waiting, as far as, I think it was called The Waiting Husband or something like that. I really think that that's important. Like, if you are going to become married or it's something that you want to do, even dating, I feel like you should prep yourself for that. Figure out, do you get overly nervous? Do you bite your nails? Do you, rock back and forth? Whatever it is that you do when you do it, like, notice what you do and notice how what you do may affect, someone else. And how are you guys going to double dutch this thing together, So it was really great watching it. Go ahead, yeah.
I was gonna have to give because he's the one that told me about the show. Ooh, it might have been a year ago, and I just randomly remembered, and I was like, oh, let me just watch, and I was like, oh, this is good. Let's watch it, all together. So it's really Jerome.
Okay.
That,
Okay.
no,
Shout out, JSM, shout out, because it was like, a matter of fact, when I clicked onto it, so originally I guess we all were supposed to click onto it and go to the first episode, and we all clicked on it and went to the third episode. So we were trying to do something really, really unique and different. Maybe we can still do it again. I'm not even going to say it because I feel like we should do that maybe for another show. I think that would be really dynamic. But throughout the process, and I was like, where is we going with this? And I was like, waiting husband. And I'm like, wait, I'm in that process of going through the marriage license and things like that, and just really growing in relationships as an adult with people, and I truly believe that dating, married, anytime when you with another person that you are spending your intimate space with, I feel like you need to see that person in multiple different lights. It shouldn't just be you see this person intimately. You need to see this person when they're frustrated. You need to see this person when they're angry, when they're horny, when something didn't go their way, when they're sad, when they're someone close to them pass away. You need to see that person in all lights, because then you'll be able to make a greater assessment of this person that you are, coming to be a part of. You guys are coming together as one. And someone told me that a few years, matter of fact, when I first moved to Georgia, and it was a Lyft driver, Uber driver. And we were just talking to an older lady, and she was like, yeah, she was like, I gotta see a man in all his stages. And I was like, hey, touche. I said, I love it. And that had changed my dating perspective. It had changed my perception on so many levels, where it was just like, okay, so this is how you are when you're happy. Awesome. Check. But now, what do you look like when things don't go your way? What do you look like when you're denied? What do you look like when you had a horrible day at work? What do you look like when you may go check your bank statement and it's not there, or something, drastic change? What do you look like? How does that affect us? So I think those are things that people need to speak about in conversations. Go ahead.
And I also implore everyone to, I also just for general relationships as well, but definitely like romantic ones, is notice how they treat other people as well, period. Because that's what people like. And actually, to me, at first, I kind of felt like that was maybe like, kind of everyone knew that, but then someone told me they were like, Well, I never thought about that. I always thought about how they treated like me, and I always thought I was special or something. But then I was like, I was like, no, because if you look at it, if you think about it, that's actually a form of manipulation. It's like I'm treating you a certain way to get somewhere, but as soon as you can't give me what I want, how are they going to treat you? And that's why a lot of people have messy breakups, because they got with someone who wasn't really a good person, and then they showed their whole ass, like real for real, for real. So I would just implore for all your relationships, but especially if someone you're giving your mind, body, and soul to, your most vulnerable state, see how they talk and treat other people. Not even treat, but talk. If they're like, oh, thanks, waiter, da da da, and then they leave, and they're like, that bitch's teeth are terrible. Like, what the fuck? She did A, B, C, D, running the whole thing down. What you think they're gonna be saying about you after you break up?
I
And they
think,
know.
James, you said that too one day. I think you said that about we're not gonna go into details, but I think he was like with a certain person who was like, oh, they talk about other people, the other day, talkie, they was talkie, they was chattery next to us. They was chattery. Yes, okay. Yes, okay. And, just just in that space of like, ooh, I don't think I want to hang out with this person or be with this person, to be around this person as often or even at all, because they talk about people, and I know I had that bad for years. I would talk about people so bad, like, and then after I used to talk bad. But then one day I was just like, no. And I just started getting mature and started getting older. And it's just like, I mean, I may have it here and there, but it'd be more like, like something that they have on or something like that. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cute or that's different, or what I mean, something like that, or like, oh my gosh, like, girl, somebody should have told her to put her track down or something. What I mean? I may say something like that, but it's reality. What I mean? Talk about facts. What I mean? But I'm not just like dogging somebody out, because I feel like if I can dog you out, I can say it to your face. I don't have to say anything behind nobody's back. If I got something to say, I can say it to you, or I don't need to say it at all. So it just was like, okay, I don't think I want to be around that person as much. So it's like when you saying that, Jazz, yeah, that means a lot. Like, I need to know how you are around your mom. I need to know how you treat your children. I need to know how. I remember one day this dude, girl, I'm not gonna put his name on blast, but I remember one time, the first time I met the guy, we talked that day, and then the next day we talked, and I just started going into questions, and I was like, how many kids you got? This and the third, and he like, I got two, and I was like, all right, cool. And he like, he's telling me their age. And already he was almost, I was kind of like a Priya. He was almost out of the picture anyway, because his baby was like 2 or 4. And I was like, I never wanted to be with someone as I'm getting older that their children are younger than my children. I don't mind you having kids, but they at least need to be my kids' age or older. So I'm like, okay. So he's like, well, one is 2. His son was either 2 or 4, and his daughter was like 10. So I'm like, okay, how's with the kids' mom or mothers, or he like, no, I got 2 kids' mom. I'm like, okay, cool. And then he goes into, well, when was the last time you seen your daughter? And that was the question I asked him. When was the last time you seen your daughter? He was like, well, almost a year ago. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. So he telling me the situation was going on. I'm like, okay, I think you need to fix that. And he's like, okay, yeah, and it's going into whole detail. All I heard was excuses at the end of the day, was that he was trying to holler at me and wasn't trying to holler at his daughter. And so the whole end of it was I blocked him, and I blocked him because my whole thing was he asked me, he was like, so when am I going to see you? And y'all know what my response, if anybody know me, I was like, well, when you see your daughter. He was like, what? He was like, you mean to tell me I can't see you until I see my daughter? Yes, sir. I'm a mother. I'm not going to sleep with you, sir. And you can't even, see your kids. I have children. That's a no-go for me, And he was like, wait. I said, you know what, sir? Peace and blessings. Have a good evening. I hung up from him and I blocked him. And that was the first time. And then his kid mom called me like a week later. The youngest one mom. I'm like, shorty. I was like, man, how old are you? She like, I'm old enough. I said, let me tell you something. You younger than me. From you even responding like that, you younger than me. So I said, let me tell you something. I only spoke to him one time, okay, from the first 2 times. The first time we met when we exchanged numbers, and the second day. I said, he didn't get past to me from that. I said, why? Because I have standards. I'm not going to be around a man and you can't even take care of your children, but you want to be in my face all day. That don't fly. And she was like, okay. And I said, well, I'm gonna just give you some school, some wisdom, because I can tell she was younger. I gave her some school and some wisdom. I said, Shorty, don't call me. Call him, talk to him. Don't call me, because I blocked him from the first moment. He was not the type for me. He couldn't do nothing for me, and I couldn't do nothing for him but give him this encouragement and block him and keep moving. So I think that means a lot when you have standards in relationships and things like that. So that whole having conversations, those things need to be had in dating, inquiring about someone. You need to get all in their business, because they sure enough gonna get all in yours. Or if they not, they need to, because if we spending time together, I want to know that your eye click like this every other Wednesday. So I won't be looking at you a little funny on that Wednesday when it click. I need to know. So just seeing how people treat other people that they're around, it means on how they're going to treat you. So if you're not going to show up for your daughter, how you going to show up for me? And I need consistency. That's a number one thing for me. So it's like, if you can't show up consistently for your child, how would you show up consistently in a relationship that's something that is requiring that? So I don't know. I'm off my spiel about that, because I just had to really share my dating experience. I don't really share too much sometimes with people when it comes to dating. That's why I said I really wanted to do this. I think it was once me just watching, and I was like, oh, I was like, this is on point. And I'm like, look at all of them just dealing with their dating scene. Some don't even need to be in a dating scene. Then others is they don't even know what's going on in the dating scene. They were so confused about what they wanted, what they liked, what they didn't like. So I really truly liked it. Did we miss anybody? Rushella?
I liked her. Oh, sorry. You can go, Yams.
I was gonna say we can get him next time, child. We got more episodes.
Oh yeah, we do. So we will
That's
be
true.
back for another episode so we can talk more about this. You're absolutely right. That's why you're my co-host, because you keep me on the coast, on the host. Okay, host is the most. But so I mean, we are soon getting ready, I guess, to end. Yeah, no, yeah, okay, cool. So we are learning how to shorten this. But honey, wouldn't it be so much to talk about? We just start talking and stuff. That's why it's called Talking Tuesday, honey. So we gonna be talking all day on Tuesday. And make sure, if you have not checked your inbox or your messages or your emails, you may have gotten an invitation to come see us live, our live audience party. And it's a 2-day, it's a night with an S, night and nights at the museum. All right. So we're going to like close out. I think we did really great in this session. I think we did everything about this relationship. Is there something that maybe one word or a positivity that you can leave with someone who's watching this, that's maybe going through the dating scene or not being able to be emotionally available yet and is trying to date? What is something that you can leave with someone?
It sounds like you're talking to me. You said emotionally unavailable. That is, I mean, I'm emotionally available, but I'm just not ready. I just can't be.
No,
Don't
no,
know.
talking to whoever. No. I love it though. I love the vulnerability and the transparency. That's what we do here on the Queen Juicy Shake Show. Okay, because that's the only way us as humans are going to be able to grow together as people individually and together. Just by being honest and open. So, but no, I was just talking in general of just, someone that may be going through this time right now may look at the show, or maybe in that dating scene or in their prime time of their life where they're not emotionally available, but they want to be or whatever. What is something that you can leave for someone that is watching this?
I would tell them to really, and this is going to sound like everyone says it kind of cliche, but really work on yourself and really work on bettering yourself in every kind of facet of your life, your spiritual health, your career, your mental health, your relationships, friendships, your family relationships, because honestly, really good energy brings people can sense that for real, because I know I really be up and down with my mental journey, but I know like the weekend or 3 days where I was just feeling really, or 4 days where I was feeling really good about myself and just really hitting the pavement and doing what I needed to do. I got flirted with twice, men. Like I got flirted with twice, and it was very like blatant flirting, and I was like, it's just the energy I'm giving off. Period. But like, and that's on the outside, but on the inside, I'm really like, oh, but like when I am kind of just worrying about my own thing and really just putting out a type of positivity that people respond to that. And so I think that's really the most, if you're looking for someone, it's about really looking for yourself, and people are going to find that positive energy that you're putting out and want to be a part of that journey for real. Yeah. So I'd recommend that.
Per.
I think discernment is something that you need to practice, but you can also pray for as well. But like, just people can really derail you. You know, you have to understand manipulation tactics. You have to not be so desperate that you, like, when someone shows you the time of day, you start accepting other things because you just like that feeling. You know, like, understand if you're being love bombing or if someone's just showing you love. Just really have discernment with the people that you deal with. And you know, if someone, I don't really believe in too many flukes, because usually people are careful anyway. If, like, I'm meeting you for the first time, I want to kind of put my best foot forward, so I may not say anything that might shake the table. But if someone's just shaking, rattling the table and everything, and you know, you feel uncomfortable, listen to that. Don't be like, try to be cool. I don't, you know, just be like, I don't feel comfortable with this person. And it doesn't matter how handsome or pretty or whatever they are. Like, if you are uncomfortable, your body is uncomfortable. Like, listen to your body. I was literally I hate that Nina's not here, because she sent me this sermon um from Pastor Sarah Jakes, and TD Jakes' daughter. TD Jakes is pretty famous, but she was talking about how we ignore our body, and a lot of times we get into things and our body told us the whole time, I don't like this, I'm uncomfortable, this isn't good, right? God can give us, you know, it's not always just hearing verbally, it's just he'll tell the body, because the body is what holds your soul. So yeah, just listen to your body.
That's deep. That's deep. See, that's what I share with people all the time, honey. And people like, oh my God, you're so conceited. And I'm like, it's not about conceitedness. It's about I'm sure of myself. Like, you know what I mean? Like I know when, again, back to that belly button. Don't touch my belly button. Don't do it. You know what I mean? Because I'm telling you, like, it's not going to end well for you nor I. So help me, help you, help us. You know, paying attention to how you feel in your body is very important, because before we learned words, you know, our bodies knew how to speak. You know, our bodies knew a language before our mouth was taught how to say A, B, or C. So just being more mindful of how you're feeling. And if you're not up at your best, listen, be able to say, you know what, right now I'm not feeling too well. Can we talk about this later? You know, or maybe not answer the phone or go out places when you aren't feeling your best self sometimes, and just, you know, get to figure that out and be like, why am I feeling this way today? Or who upset at me, or whatever the case may be. So I do definitely agree with both of you guys. I can't say anything more than that, because I am a woman who really truly believes in learning about yourself. And yourself tells you what needs to be done, what more of or what less thereof you need. And us as humans, we are just the ones that ignore it, and then pay the expensive cost later. And I feel like sometimes we don't have to pay the expensive cost later if we learn how to listen to our bodies now. So I definitely truly appreciate both of you guys. We love you, Nina. We hope that we see you, we see you in the next one. But again, just just paying attention to your being and who you are and what you give off to other people. Because I ruffle feathers all the time, honey. I shake tables all the time. The table be shaking, the chair, the legs, honey. The food be sliding off of one side. But again, we in life we have to learn what we are able to give off, and I know that's what I give off, and sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes it's not. But I still love you anyway. And we're going to end this session, but it was a really, really great one. We normally do our positive affirmations when we come and go, but we also do a prayer before we leave. So who would love to do the honors?
Queen, I think you.
Y'all think I should? What? Sucks. All right, everyone bow your head. I don't need nobody in the church saying, well, go on past it. No. It's going to be real short and sweet. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings, you all. Thank you so much for allowing this opportunity to be placed in our space. Thank you so much, God, for allowing us to be open, transparent, and we pray that people around us that will see this and listen to this, that it will be able to be a step in their life, and if not, maybe a shaking on their table, and allow their table to just shake a little bit to the left, because maybe sometimes we need shaking. You know what I mean? We are just so stuck in that space, in that sunken space, that sometimes in life, God, our tables need to really be shaken. And we thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you at another one. And all have a great evening. Peace, love, blessings. Ashe, ashe. Night, night. I love you all.
Night. Love y'all.
Love you too.
Oh.
I love you too. I love you guys too. As we say here at number 4, Fresh Blend, that Irish. Get green, get going. Peace, love, and always. Ashe.